to try and understand how, when I explain or present this to you, what's already familiar to you, how this would be useful for the work that you're doing. Although I recognize that there are different countries in the room, some that have been doing other work that's maybe not quite so much on economic engagement, and other people have been working with well for a few years. So I recognize there might be a bit different levels of understanding within the room. But the main point is that GEM is not really actually trying to create something particularly or completely new. It's really just trying to be a more concrete tool to help you be able to meet the objectives of what we're trying to do, say with resilience, breaking down silos, helping you work together more across various teams. So yeah, a number of the themes that you've heard before this morning from David and during discussions yesterday. So I'm going to put together a definition, and I'm just going to take pieces of that definition step by step. So if you just click on the first. So defining the GEM initiative. You can really say it's an aligned set of tools, guidance, and support. So that's just to say there are tools. Part of those are some of the well tools that you're familiar with. Other ones we've been designing based on feedback from other parts of the world. They include, or we're still developing to include and improve on, the things like household analysis, as well as looking more at gender-based violence. Guidance is still the Value for Women group, for instance. Also guidance from the global team as well as obviously the regional office. So that's the guidance and support. That enables us to work with smallholder farmers. I think we understand that aspect very well. Our goal here is really on agricultural livelihoods with the GEM initiative. And that's a lot of what we've been discussing so far. By comprehensively analyzing and designing interventions too. So by comprehensively, it means that it's really just building on what WELL has done previously, that we've recognized from previous programs, both here within LAC, but also from other parts of the world, that we need to do additional types of analysis that cover the components like climate change adaptation, and that we do a proper analysis of power and markets, which is to say, we try and look at a broader market system, and I'll show that visually a little bit later on. And based on that analysis, designing interventions that respond to that. And so there are three real goals. One, change power relations in market systems. So that's that theme of power in markets. Two, empower women through economic leadership. So that's the discussion we've been having and what a lot of you have years of experience in. Three, mitigate short to long-term risks, including climate impact. So not just thinking about, okay, we have a problem, there's a barrier, we identify the barrier, we try and solve that through a very direct intervention such as capacity building, some training, some community work, which is a short to maybe medium-term intervention, but thinking about also the long-term impacts and the long-term risks. So if we're thinking about working in a sector or with a product, what's the market demand for that? Who's the consumer market for this? Are we thinking about domestic audience? Is it through an exporter? What's the infrastructure that's already on the ground that we could plug into a more formal market system to try and make that a very sustainable supply chain that these women's groups and these smallholder farmers or cooperatives could connect to really be part of a broader market system, which can then, in the process of, and with the proper negotiation, we can help provide them with a good price for their products, provide them with improved capacity, and hopefully also to work with various actors further up the value chain, as well as with actors in both the supply services and a broader market environment, such as policy or local governance actors, to improve the operating environments for these rural communities. So that's really trying to, when I talk about risk, it's considering kind of what the long-term impact or what the long-term changes might be and what the risks are. So for instance, lack of access to credit which is what WISE is thinking about, or lack of access to services because the average business service center would rather provide services to larger consulting agencies than to rural smallholder farmers.